Alright, I'm gonna keep this short for today, just 'cause it's really late and on the road. Well, there's not too much to talk about with on the road, but one thing you'll notice in my videos is that I'm not really a stickler for detail at all. You know, I might forget minor details like the name of the main character, or the overall problem in the story. You know, I'm really forgetful, and it's sort of annoying. But when I read a story, I don't see the little details and the little incidents. I see the story as a whole, and I see the entire concept or theme of the novel. So, I'm sure you guys will catch me at some point getting major details wrong and stuff, but hopefully I can at least get the theme right. So, have I even mentioned the theme in other videos? I'm not sure. Anyway, On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Don't think I have my copy with me, but anyway, On the Road was, well, it was different, that's for sure. It's basically the story of Sal Paradise, and he's in his 20s and he's just traveling around the country. And there's really not too much of a plot. I mean, like, you know, every once in a while he goes in this stage of depression, then after that he's like, you know, oh, life is so great, and then he goes back into a stage of depression. Basically, it's him and his friend Dean Moriarty, who are just traveling all over the country. They must go across the country like at least 2, maybe 3 times, and they go to Mexico for a bit, and they're just all over the place. And it's basically, this group of people just have this logic that all they want to do in life is just travel around and smoke pot and write and enjoy life. And that's what they do, and they're like very lively, enthusiastic people, and it's really cool to read this book because you feel like you're generally on a road trip instead of actually going out and hanging out with dangerous people and getting into crazy situations. And the humor in this book is like a bit dry, but there's some parts that really got me. Like, for example, there's one scene where Dean is really drunk and he was driving, and Sal's with him in the car, and they picked up some hitchhikers, and Dean would drive like straight at an oncoming truck or something in the other lane, and then Sal would be like, you should look out for that truck. Dean's like, a truck? And then the last second you'd pull out of the way and the people in the back seat were scared out of their minds. But just little things like that. And it feels like I'm cutting myself short, but honestly there's not too much that happens in the story. There's not a distinct story. In the beginning, Sal hangs out with this group of people in like a truck, and this guy's trying to piss out the window and the truck swerves all over. That was sort of amusing. And then he goes and finds Dean, hangs out with him for a while, and then he meets a girl named Camille, and they're together for a little bit, and then all of a sudden the relationship just sort of fades away because they know it's not really going to work out, and Sal has to go off to New York City. You see, here's where I get lost. I can't remember the details and the progression of the story. As sad as that is, I know it seems like a major detail. But, so, yeah, and then at the end, that's when they were in Mexico, and they were at the peak of their energetic lifestyle, I'd say. Even though it was at the end of the book, that's when they were really getting into it, and just chasing girls all over the place, and getting drunk, and getting chased by cops. It was... What I like about it is, well, obviously it was a real experience, and, you know, he changed the names of the characters and everything. Jack Kerouac changed the names of the characters, even changed his own name. You know, with a normal story, it follows, you know, there's the climax, and there's the resolution and all that, and everything follows this sort of formula. But with this book, it didn't follow a formula, which made it all the more believable. You know, it may not have been as satisfying, but it felt real. You know, it's like this could really happen. Things don't work out just right. You know, events don't unfold correctly. There's not really any foreshadowing. Just people on the road. The title sums up the whole book. On the road, living life, having fun, having sex. And it was a great book. I really liked it, and I see why it's considered to be a classic. And it was pretty much timeless for the most part. You know, a couple of little details, lack of iPods. How could they go without iPods? But so, yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure you guys did too. As if you actually read it. I haven't seen too many comments on the books yet, but hopefully you guys will get into it. So the next book we're going to read is Kite Runner. And I'm sure you've heard of this book. I'm sure a lot of you guys have read it. It's Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, and it's like 400 pages long, and it's about a kid's life in Afghanistan. He has a really rough childhood, and I'm only like 26 pages in, and I have to say, it's probably because I'm just reading this book in between classes and I'm not even paying attention, but the story's not catching me yet. I'll just warn you, it's a little gross. It's really gross, especially in the beginning. But it's supposed to be a really deep book. So, I said I wasn't going to do too much sci-fi, so I'll go between sci-fi and fiction and fantasy and whatnot. Next book I think will be fantasy, just because I love, fantasy, sci-fi, same thing. But the difference between fantasy and sci-fi is fantasy is mythical creatures and magic and different realms. Sci-fi is something that's possible. To me, sci-fi with aliens is not possible. Star Wars is fantasy. Technically it's a space opera, but no one watches space opera movies. No one refers to that genre. But so yeah, technically, I don't know. I mean, obviously it seems sci-fi, but I think a lot of it is beyond the realm of possibility. Books like The Hungry City Chronicles, you probably haven't read it, but that's an example of possible, very frighteningly possible sci-fi. Or 1984, for example. Yeah, sure, 1984 is come and gone, but that's an extremely possible sci-fi novel. So, I'm just going to stop myself there. I could go on for a while. And that's just about it. Thanks for watching.